Namaste, everyone. Thank you for joining in this class on Shri Suktam. Last week, we did not have a class because of issues with the Amavasya. So, in the class before last week, we have completed till the 6th verse or the 6th mantra in the hymn, the Vedic hymn called Shri Suktam. Okay. So, today we'll be looking at mantra number 7 as well as mantra number 8. Okay. But again, as usual, let's start the class with the Shanti mantra from the Upanishads. Om Sahana Bhavatu, Sahano Bhunakatu, Sahaviryankara Vavahai, Tejasvinadaditamastu Mavida Vishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Okay. Okay. So this is verse number 7 from Shri Suktam. Okay. And again, as I say, the swara is very important. Okay. Upaitu mam deva sakha kirtishcha manina saha pradurbhutoshmi rashtrishmin kirtim dradhim dadatu me. So the translation is, may the friend of the Devas, the bright being, accompanied by Kirti and money, come to me. I am born in this land. Please bless me with glory and wealth. Okay. Now don't bring a concept of nation into this. Okay. It says, it speaks about the land, the place where you are born in. Okay. It could be anywhere. Okay. So just hold on. Yeah. So upaitu means please come. Mam means to me. Okay. Mam means me. Mam means to me. So this is the magic of Sanskrit. Just one vowel can change the entire context. Okay. Mam is me. Mam means to me. Deva Sakhaha, a friend of the Devata. Who is a friend of the Devata? Devatas are bright beings. Okay. Asuras are dark beings, as mentioned in the Hindu iconography. And this Devata referred to here is Rudra. Okay. It's Rudra, the Devatas who are, friends with Rudra, the destructive aspect of Shiva. Okay. And who is Rudra? Rudra is, of course, the embodiment of the life force. Okay. Kirtihi, it means glory. It can also refer to the quality that makes one glorious. In some cases, it could also mean the power that accompanies glory. Okay. Cha. Cha means and. Okay. Ityadi. In Hindi, it would be ityadi. Okay. Manina. With money. All right. What is money? Money is that it refers to chintamani, the wish fulfilling gem. Okay. It also refers to Manibhadra. Manibhadra is the divine being of the Vedas who gives access to celestial wealth. Okay. So one of the names of Kubera, if you look at the 108 names of Kubera, one of the names of Kubera is Manibhadra. Okay. And if you have watched the film Tumbad, okay, it's available on Amazon Prime. Tumbad. It's a very good horror movie. Very low budget, made in a very low budget, but it's a very good horror movie. Okay. There you will see that being who is the villain in the movie. That being is named Manibhadra. Okay. The reference is made several times. Saha means with. Pradur bhutaha. It means have been born. Asmi means I am. Okay. Asmi is, of course, I am. One of the names of the ego, according to Parashara, that is also Asmita. Okay. The I amness is ego. That is what Parashara says. Even Patanjali says that. Rashtre, belonging to the land of your birth. Rashtre here does not mean country. It means belonging to where you were born. So wherever you are born, that is your country. Okay. In those days, we did not have the concept of citizenship. You are born in India and you then go to the US and then take US citizenship. So you become a citizen of the US here. It does not work that way. Okay. According to the Vedic concept, that where you are born, that is your country. Okay. Asmin means in this. Kirtim, of course, means glory. Riddhim means wealth. Dadatu me means give it to me. Okay. It's a prayer. No, give it to me. So there is a rhythm in the universe. Okay. And this word rhythm, it actually comes from the Sanskrit word rihtam. Okay. Not now in Hindi, it means rhythm. Okay. Rhythm means the will of the, the unbending governing law of nature. But more importantly, it means synchronicity. Okay. It means synchronicity. There is a huge amount of synchronicity that makes everything come together. On the, on the at the mundane level, things may seem to be pretty much random. Life may seem to be pretty much random. But there is a huge synchronicity that is making things happen in the universe in a certain way. Okay, that synchronicity is called rihtam. Okay, rihtam. And from there, the Hindi word rhythm has come. From there, the English word rhythm has come. So this is synchronicity. And this synchronicity, according to Shri Suktam, is a grace that has emerged from Jata Vedas. And it defines the truth. How it defines the truth? It defines the truth by manifesting in the lives of everyone. And that we call it as destiny. Okay. Steve Jobs called this phenomenon as connecting the dots. So if you look back at your life and see how life has unfolded to bring you at this point, till this point, you would understand that there is a very synchronous way that things have happened. Okay, to bring you to wherever you are. And trust me on this, you're exactly where you need to be. Okay, you could crib and complain and do anything you want, but whatever situation is going on in your life right now is exactly the same situation that is going to play a role in your evolution, not as a body, as a soul. Okay, as a soul which is born from the spark of the divine. Okay, and in the light of this synchronicity, the Saptarishis were also born. Okay, and one of the Saptarishis, his name is Pulastya, and he has Vishvara. Vishvara is the son of Pulastya. Okay, Vishvara translates to the one who is well heard. Okay, so Vishvara in Hindu mythology or Hindu theology is known for his power and wisdom, as well as for the patience needed to contain and share that power and wisdom. And this happens to many of us. Yes, you've seen all those teachers who used to, who used to complain a lot. You cannot do this maths, you cannot learn this. Our parents used to complain a lot. Okay, so just having wisdom is not enough. You need to be patient so that you find the right people to share that wisdom. That is the reason, real gurus, they will wait eternally for the right student to arrive so that they can teach them that. Okay, real gurus are not anyone who would, who would put, who would get students in batches and then put them in a course and then, take them together. In that case, it's not going to work. If you have wisdom, if you call yourself to be a guru, you have to have the patience to wait for the right kind of students to show up, and students will show up. Okay, it means you have to become a flower so that bees come to you. Has anyone seen flowers going to the bees? No, the bees come to the flowers. Why? Because the fragrance leads them to that flower. So you have to become the flower, okay, so that bees come to you, right? So Vishrava, he begot a son who instantly earned the everlasting friendship of Rudradeva. And who is Rudradeva? Rudradeva is is an archetype that represents the divinity that embodies the radiant life force. Okay, Rudra is you. So the seers of truth, that means the rishis, called called this devata who was born of Vishrava. They called this devata as Deva Sakha, friend of Rudra. Okay, so this friend of the radiant life force is the Lord of heavenly wealth. Okay. And this Lord of heavenly wealth designs destiny, which determines how long one may live, in what type of body, and what desirable or undesirable circumstances one will face. So it's this verse or this hymn is a prayer to Jataveda, who is of course the Lord of, who is regarded as the divine embodiment in Shri Suktam. It is a prayer to Jataveda that this Lord of heavenly wealth, who is a friend of Rudra, the best friend of Rudra, the best friend of the life force, should come to you accompanied by his two distinguished consorts, okay, Kirti and Mani. Okay. And once this Devasakha arrives in your life, it will fill your mind and heart with heavenly virtues. Okay. And what are those virtues? The virtue of love, the virtue of kindness, the virtue of compassion, forgiveness, fortitude, as well as the courage to give and take. Okay. So a lot of good things have been said about giving, how giving makes you a superhuman, how good giving is, how good giving is for others, how good giving, the act of giving something away develops your personality. But what about the act of taking? We are not taught enough on the act of taking, on the art of taking. If you are a good giver but not a good taker, then life is pretty much imbalanced. You have to be a good taker as well. Okay. If you are a good taker, then nature is waiting to bless you with all its bounties. Okay. So Devasakha, Devasakha has the power and wisdom that he has inherited from his father Vishrava. And it's a prayer to Jatavedas to be able to make you a container who can hold and share that power and wisdom. So what is the meaning of container who can hold this power, who can share this power and wisdom? It means this is a prayer to make you empty. Okay, to make you empty. And as I said, Devasakha is the best friend of Rudra. So how does Rudra make you empty? Rudra makes you empty. He is a howling god. Okay, Rudra means the howler, who is howling, who is crying. Okay, who is crying, and you cry only when you are in pain. So Rudra, he cuts away ruthlessly cuts away all your attachments. Okay, so if anyone has read the Shri Suktam, Shri Rudram, or if anyone reads the Shri Rudram, you'd understand what I'm saying. At the end of each verse of Sri Rudram, there is a line, Rudra, please don't kill my loved ones. Rudra, please don't harm my loved ones. Rudra, please don't take away my loved ones. Why? Because, you get attached to your loved ones. And although you are invoking Rudra in your consciousness, you don't want your loved ones to be taken away ruthlessly. Okay. So it's a prayer. So Rudra, this friend of Rudra, Devasakha, it makes you prepared. It makes you empty so that you can contain and share that power and wisdom. All right. And this is also a prayer. As I said, Shri Suktam is all about the rishis. So this is also a prayer that sings the glories of Pulastaya, who is the rishi, related to heavenly wealth, okay, of abundance. And, when you associate with this rishi, when you connect with this rishi, then you actually connect to the rhythm of the universe, Rihtam. Okay. And once you connect to this rhythm, then, life is magic is a combination of meaningful coincidences. All miracles, whichever has happened in your life is anyways a miracle. But if you look back at your life closely, all the miracles that have happened to you, you'd see that a combination of events, a series of events came together and you got what you wanted magically, miraculously. So every miracle is a set of meaningful coincidences. And once you connect to this rhythm of the universe, the rhythm, life becomes a series of meaningful coincidences that brings you the radiance of Kirti. Kirti, that means name and fame. So, as a human being, you are engineered to have the desire for recognition, right? Human beings have a desire to be recognized. Since you have, why? because the sun is the divine light of the soul. And the sun is the king. According to astrology, the sun is the king. This is my first session. Yeah, you can start midway. Of course, you can start midway. Just go through the previous sessions. Okay, not a problem. So the sun is the king. Okay, the sun is the king, and the king wants name, wants fame. All right. So as human beings, we are engineered to have this desire for recognition. Okay, and what does Hinduism teach you? Hinduism teaches you to honor your desires. Okay, whatever teachings have come to you saying that you should let go of your desire, you should you should not pay attention to your desire is a bad thing. Those teachings are just manipulated teachings of Shankaracharya. Okay, those teachings came after Shankaracharya came. But if you look at the Sri Vidya, if you look at the Sri Vidya tradition, desire is associated with Ma Kameshwari herself. Okay, and Hinduism has always taught, this tradition of Sanatan Dharma has always taught to honor desire. Okay, not to reject desire. Rejection of desire is a distortion of the teachings of Shankaracharya. Even Shankaracharya did not reject desire. Otherwise, he would not be going around and composing hymns related to Kanakdhara or related to, all the materialistic affluence that gods can give. Okay, so this rejection of desire is a manipulation. But in reality, you have to honor desire. So you have to honor that desire which makes you crave for recognition. Okay. And how does that recognition comes? It comes with the glory of Kirti. It comes with the grace of Kirti. Okay. But along with this fame, you also need, along with Kirti, you also need money. What is money? Money is the self-shining gem of power and discernment. Okay. So too much of fame can actually make you go mad. Okay. In the tantric tradition, the deity that is associated with fame, that deity's name is Sorat. Okay, that deity's name is Sorat. So when we are given Sorat, when we are given to work with Sorat, when there are some clients who come to us saying that I need fame, I need to be recognized in my field. And we are very careful when we ask the client to perform rituals related to Sorat, because Sorat can make you go mad. Because without discernment, this, desire can be a dangerous thing. From Sorat comes the Urdu word of Sohrat. Sohrat. So, anyways, that is a bit of a digression. So, without discernment, without the power of discernment, all recognition, all your fame, all your recognition are in, it is in vain. So, once your wealth is accompanied by kirti, that means glory, and once your wealth is accompanied by money, that means self-discernment, you remain grounded in the principle of trustful surrender. That means you do not fear the wealth to go away. Whatever wealth you have or whatever wealth you are earning, you do not fear that it will ever go away from you. Have you noticed this? People become religious only after they have a lot of money. And that is not out of, that is not out of devotion. It's out of fear that who knows, I might lose the money tomorrow. So I'll do a lot of pujas. I've seen people who were completely irreligious, completely agnostic, completely atheist. And then somehow, wealth came. Of course, it happens with the dashas, the time periods that you're running. And then suddenly they turn religious. Why? Because people are more afraid of losing the wealth. They don't turn religious due to their gratitude towards Lakshmi, due to their gratitude towards the wealth that is flowing, towards them. It's more about, I don't want to lose my wealth. So let me do this puja, let me do that puja. And what happens? The wealth goes away. It will go away because, it's a cycle. Money comes, money goes. It's a cycle. So whenever you have this recognition and you are empowered by, discernment, you remain grounded in the principle of trustful surrender. That means you are absolutely okay with whatever wealth comes to you. You're also okay with the fact that, wealth might not come to you. Okay. So as human beings, you have descended as, as a spirit having a human experience. Once you have descended to this world of humans, you are a part of the land. You become a part of the land in which you are born. So once you become a part of the land in which you are born, you also inherit the destiny of those around you, including that of the land. Okay, so that is the concept of collective karma. Okay, someone may be born in Afghanistan and the person might not have that many bad karmas, but because he was born in Afghanistan, he or she was born in Afghanistan, he or she can come under the, under the Taliban. And then, life can be pretty much miserable. You look at people in Iraq, you look at people in Syria, you look at people in certain parts of Africa who are, who are dying of hunger. Why? Because it's not their bad karma alone. It's also the karma that comes from the land that they are born in. Okay. So since you are taking part in the destiny of those around you, the joy and sorrow of this world is also your joy and sorrow. Okay. So if your kshetra, okay, if your country is facing a problem, you will also face the same problem. If your country is facing abundance, you will also bathe in that stream of abundance. Okay. So what is happening is that the land where you are born in is your home, and serving it, no matter how bad it is, becomes your dharma. Okay. And for service, what do you need? You need glorious wealth. Okay. You need glorious wealth that helps you to serve people. Okay. Don't think that wealth is only necessary for, for fulfilling your desires. You also need wealth for service. Without wealth, there can be no seva. Alright, don't think that you can serve others without wealth. Okay, some people have a great disdain for wealth. I am a sevak, so I don't need wealth. No, without wealth, you cannot save. You cannot serve. You need wealth to serve people. Okay, and that wealth comes from Jata Vedas, the omnipresent being who is mentioned in every verse of Shri Suktam. Okay, so that is it. That is it. This is the 7th verse. Now we'll go to the 8th verse. Okay, just give me a couple of minutes. Let me drink some water. I'm coming back. Okay, the 8th verse. Shutpi-pasamalam jyeshtham-alakshmi nashyam-yaham abhutimam samriddhi-cha sarvam nirdudam me grahat. So this is the 8th verse that that is a part of the Sri Suktam hymn, and it translates roughly as, I eliminate hunger, thirst, impurity, disrepute, and poverty. And this is a prayer to Lakshmi to remove all forms of emptiness and poverty from your home. Okay, so Shut means hunger, Pipasa means thirst, Malam means impurity or toxin or uncleanliness. You can call it anything that is impure. Okay, Jeshtham. So Jeshtham means, Jeshtha is a deity who is associated with poverty. Okay, it is regarded as the elder sister of Lakshmi. In some Vedic texts, Jeshtha is also referred to as the wife of Shani. Okay, and the concept of giving dhuno or dhuna or dhunu in some places, that is associated with with Jeshtha. You want to drive away Jeshtha from your place. Okay, so then Alakshmi means again the the lack of prosperity, the opposite of Lakshmi basically. Lack of goodness, lack of beauty. Nashayami means I destroy. Aham means I. Abhutim means lack of fullness. Okay, so you have to be full in everything. Your cup has to be full every time, right? Asamriddhing means lack of prosperity. Cha again means and. Sarvam means all. Sarvam, not sarvam. Sarvam means all. Nirnuda means remove. Me means my. Krihat means from home. Okay. So you're praying to Jata Vedas, right? You're praying to Jata Vedas, who gives you the gifts of prosperity. And this is a resolution. This is a sankalpa that you are taking to use the gift of glorious wealth to exterminate shut. Shut again means hunger, as I said. Okay. So here it does not only mean hunger of my family, it means the hunger of everyone. Okay. It does not mean only your hunger, it means the hunger of everyone. Because if anyone goes hungry, it's a disrepute to you. That means you are not being able to use your wealth. Okay. Now I don't want you to, and I'm not saying you go and donate your wealth to the hungry. No, it's not that. But at least, you know, this is a reference to the exaltation of Venus. Venus exalts in the 12th house. What is the 12th house? It's the house of giving. So, whatever wealth you have, you should give at least 1%, 2%, or maybe 10% of it for hunger, to eliminate hunger. So, that is the reason. That is also the reason, not the reason. That is also the reason why food is regarded as the greatest of all dan. Okay, out of all the dana, out of all the danams that you do, food, the donation of food is regarded as the greatest of all the danas that you have, that you do. Okay, then comes the donation of knowledge, and third comes the donation of money. Okay, so nature, we know, is a repository of abundance, but yet there is hunger, right? People are hungry because they don't have enough to eat. Others are hungry because they don't have the ability to digest. How many wealthy people have you seen who cannot digest the wealth they have? That is also hunger. Okay. Now, hunger may not only be for food. Okay. Hunger could be for love. Now, there are people who are hungry for violence. Yes, there are people who are hungry for sex. There are people who are hungry for porn as well. There are people who are hungry for attention. There are people, who are hungry for exotic kinds of food. Okay, so hunger could be anything. Shut is a common word. Okay, shut is a common word, right? Some are hungry for sensory stimulation, as I said. Some are hungry for peace. Ask any child in Syria. What do you want the most? I'm hungry for peace, right? So, some are hungry for what they don't have. I have 100 rupees in the bank. My neighbor has 200 rupees in the bank. Why I do not have that extra 100 rupees that my neighbor has? So I'm hungry for that. Okay. Some are hungry. Some are suffering from ideological hunger. Why the entire earth is not having only one single religion? Right? All violence emerges from that thought. Yes. Some are suffering from spiritual hunger. Some are hungry for a guru. Maybe my life will be sorted if I find a proper guru. And this hunger, it also translates into the inanimate. The soil is hungry for water. The plants are hungry for nutrients. So the wealth that you receive from Jata Vedas, you have to strive to drive all shades of hunger away from your home, away from the world in which you live. Now, by the world, I don't mean the entire world. It means the world around you, your environment. You have to use that wealth to drive away the hunger, all forms of hunger from your environment. So now be very careful while you donate. Okay, see if your donation can drive away just one form of hunger that that I mentioned. And that is the reason why it was considered to be a sin. It is still considered to be a sin. If a young woman comes and asks you to satisfy her, if you don't do it as a male, it is considered to be a sin. Why? Because you are guilty of not satisfying her hunger. Okay, now I don't mean to encourage adultery by this, but you have to eliminate hunger whenever you come across hunger. Okay, it's your duty. Okay, and then there is thirst, right? Some are suffering because they don't have enough to drink. Others are suffering because they don't have the ability to drink. I have a neighbor. He is very rich, but what, he is having crores in his account, but what he can drink is a cup of red tea, small cup of red tea with a biscuit, because that is all his doctor has allowed him to do, nothing else. And he owns a huge confectionery outlet. He owns a huge confectionery outlet where he also has a business related to fruit juice manufacturing. So he cannot drink the things that he is producing. Right? Now some are suffering from sense cravings. My friend is having such a great time with his girlfriend. I don't have a girlfriend. And some are suffering because they don't have access to sensory objects, or because their senses are so weak and frail that they cannot enjoy sensory objects. You don't even have to become weak and frail. I know a couple of people who are married, but they don't have a sexual life because God has deprived them of that. So it's a thirst. It's a thirst, right? Some are thirsty for knowledge and they don't have any access to it. Don't have the money to, they don't have the money to buy books. They don't have the, what happened during Corona. People did not, the ones who did not have the money to buy smartphones, they were not able to attend their online classes. So they were thirsty for knowledge, right? And then there are people who have access to knowledge, but they don't have any motivation to collect and use it. Millions of students, they go to school, they go to colleges, but they don't want to study. They're doing it because their parents put them in. They are doing it because their parents forced them to be there. They are doing it because some friends went for that degree and now they have come to get the degree, and then they realize that, oh my God, I have no interest in that degree. Okay? Even the mind becomes thirsty, right? Even the mind becomes thirsty. The mind is always thirsty for clarity of thought. Yes, people are getting mental. The heart is thirsty for unconditional love because everything comes with terms and conditions. And this thirst extends to communities as well. Communities thirst for mutual respect. As an individual, most individuals, they thirst for personal freedom. My father does not allow me to go out at night. My husband does not allow me to touch his money. That is thirst for empowerment. Similarly, the soil is thirsty for timely rain. If the rain does not come, the soil cracks up. The rivers are thirsty for clean and abundant water. Just go and look at what is happening to the Yamuna if someone lives in Delhi. So there is a thirst. People get thirsty for abundant water. How to do Chhat Puja? I've seen people doing Chhat Puja in that foam, in that toxic foam from the Yamuna. So it's a thirst for cleanliness, for clean water. Okay? So this wealth that you inherit from Jata Vedas, this wealth should also be used to drive away the thirst from your home as well as from the world that you live. That means from your environment. Okay? And the wealth that you receive from Jata Vedas, that this hymn is also a sankalpa that you will use that wealth to remove mala, mal. Okay, the Hindi word is maila, maili. Maila means, or mal means impurity. Okay, and impurity, as I said, it is not only around you, it's around you in your mind as well. So this impurity or mal, it not only clogs the physical systems that are around you in your world, in your environment, but it also clogs your brain, right? So this human body that you have is your temple and your heart is the altar. But what happens? What do? We fill this temple with toxins, all the food that you eat, the way you treat your body, right? We treat our body worse than we treat our cars. Yes, how many of you put cow dung in your car? No one. We put cow dung in our body every day by the food that we eat, right? And what happens to the heart? Our hearts are filled with sorrow. Our hearts are filled with regret. Things that did not happen, things that could have happened, things that should have happened. So these are all regrets. These are all sorrows. And what you're doing in the process, you are insulting the deity that is supposed to come and sit in your altar. We always say, why the God does not come to me? It's because your altar is unclean. Your altar is dirty. You cannot see that your neighbors are doing good. You cannot see that your cousin is doing better than you. You cannot see that your friend is earning more than you. These are all ways to ensure that your altar remains dirty all the time. Right? So toxins, they are not only around you, they are inside of you as well. And we know that how contaminated the natural sources of nourishment have become. What are the natural sources of nourishment? Air, food, water. They have all become contaminated. And not only that, your body's internal ecology is also out of balance. Imbalanced and sluggish body systems, which are holding on to waste matter. How many of you have a good excretory system? I bet 50% of you don't. 50% of you cannot, how to test whether your excretory system is good. If you wake up and if you can excrete within 20 minutes of waking up, you have a good excretory system. If you cannot, if you have to wait for 1 hour for the thing to come out of your body, it means you have a bad excretory system. Okay? What it means that your body is holding on to waste matter, right? Not only your body, your mind is holding on to wasteful thoughts. Okay? And as a result, what has happened? What is happening? We are being recycled. We are being caught up in some vicious cycles of blame game. You did this, we blame everything around us. We blame our parents, we blame our friends, we blame the world, we blame the government, we blame Narendra Modi, we blame Rahul Gandhi, maybe we blame Joe Biden, whoever it is. But we don't clean what is meant to be kept clean. We don't clean the altar of our hearts. So the wealth that comes as a result of Jataveda's grace, this wealth, you're meant to use this wealth to drive all shades of impurity away from your house. Okay? Again, this is a sankalpa to utilize this gift of glorious wealth to eliminate or exterminate Jeshtha. Okay? Jeshtha, as I said, Jeshtha means poverty. Jeshtha is the spouse of Shani. It is also a term to indicate something called lack of trust. People have a serious lack of trust in themselves. They don't trust their loved ones. They don't trust the justice system. They don't trust in divine providence. Right? And what does this lack of trust do? It makes them become mentally disrepute. Yes? It forces them to alienate themselves from others. And this is one of the prime reasons why people have cancer. Because a lack of trust makes you feel abandoned. Cancer happens for two reasons. Number one, if you have a huge ego problem. And secondly, you have a lack of trust. That means you do not trust the world around you. You do not trust your environment. You do not trust that good things can happen to you. You do not trust that life can be good. And when that happens, you alienate yourself from the environment. Right? Cancer is a result of what? Is a result of that cell getting alienated from the billions of cells. The cell thinks that I am being abandoned. I am getting abandoned. And the cell becomes cancerous. And then other cells also join in. And then it develops into a lump or whatever. Okay? So loneliness comes from this alienation. Right? People feel lonely even while they are surrounded by family and friends. And what happens? Your body starts aging. Your body begins to die. If you have a disrepute mind, you will fail to do anything substantial. You will fail to contribute anything to this world. Okay? So Lakshmi is all about beauty and joy. And if you have a disrepute mind, Lakshmi will turn into Alakshmi. A condition that will oppose beauty, that will oppose joy, that will oppose abundance. If you're not making enough money, see if you have trust issues with the environment. See how many people you trust and how many people you distrust. Of course, you'll be cheated. I get cheated every single time. But I still trust. I still do. Why? Because I know that this trust factor is very important. If I have to keep this wealth, of abundance, this stream of abundance flowing towards me. Okay. My spouse always tells me, why do you trust people so much? You will always get cheated. Yes, 8 out of 10 times I get cheated. I have gotten cheated. But the 2 times where I have trusted, it has compensated 3 times more than the cheatings that have befallen upon me. And that is the magic of trust. Believe me. So, this wealth that you receive from Jata Vedas is meant to drive away all shades of, distrust, all conditions that oppose beauty, joy, and abundance from your altar. That means from your heart. So, what is destitution? Destitution is a manifestation of poverty in different forms. Okay. Sometimes it manifests as a lack of tools and means to find prosperity. Okay. Sometimes it manifests as the, as the lack of knowledge. You have the means available, but you don't have the knowledge to, use those tools to find prosperity. Some people are suffering because they have nothing or very little in their home. Others are suffering because they have everything in their home, but their heart is empty. Okay. So this is a prayer to Jata Vedas, that you'll use this wealth of abundance, this wealth of Sri Lakshmi, this wealth of Jata Vedas to eliminate all sorts of destitution. Okay. All sorts of poverty manifestation, whether it is internal or external. Okay. So that's it. We've completed verse number 7 and verse number 8. And it's no surprise that verse number 8 is related to poverty, because Saturn signifies poverty. Okay. So there's a definite connection here. Any questions? If not, we can call it a day. Okay, good. So I don't think we have questions. Thank you so much for joining. I hope everyone have something to take away from this session, as I have something to take away by teaching this to you. I'll see you next time. Namaste. Om Gurave Namah.